Welcome back for a new top 10, or rather, new MTG top 10 list. This time we are checking out, for a third video of the set, top 10 best, at least in my opinion, top 10 best uncommons in the set, Worldwake. Second of the 3 set block of original Zendikar. Coming in first at number 10 of the uncommons, Core Firewalker. Costs 2 white mana to bring out. It's a 2/2. Core Soldier also has protection from red, which is where I think this partially excels, is the fact it has protection from red. Also, whenever a player casts a red spell, you gain 1 life. So, if your opponent is known for using predominantly red cards, needless to say, in standard, use about 4 of this guy can prove very useful. The fact that it allows you to get, and if you have more than 1 on the field, say you have 2 of these on the field at the same time, that means you can gain 2 life for every red card your opponent uses. Coming in next at number 9, we have Fastwood Enemies. Hopefully I say it correctly. It costs 3 mana to bring out Elf Shaman. Also, it's a 1/1. If you tap, target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature until end of turn. Very useful in a tight spot. And if you use predominantly green deck, specifically revolving around elves, this is quite useful card. But also, where X is the number of allies you control, it's still a land, however. Still very useful in certain circumstances. Not always going to be useful, but it's always good to be prepared in advance. And that's one area where elves excel. Coming in next at number 8. Nemesis Trap. Costs 6 total to bring out. Instant. If a white creature is attacking, you may pay 2 black rather than the normal cost. So that reduces it by 2/3. Exile target attacking creature. Put a creature token that's a copy of that creature onto the battlefield. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So definitely quite useful. Though I would recommend this probably more for a commander deck than a standard deck. So, with that said, coming in next at number 7. Arguably one of my favorite artifacts from the set. Hammer of Ruin. Costs 2 to bring out. Equip cost is also 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Also, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target equipment that player controls. That is the good thing about Hammer of Ruin, is the fact that it allows you to destroy a target equipment. That is quite useful. The +2 attack is good, but the extra is just the icing on the cake. It's a nice little ability for an equipped artifact. Next, coming in at number 6. One of probably the best like rat cards, though I'd still argue Ravenous Rats is probably the best rat card that I have ever tried. But this one's good as well. Scrib Nibblers. Costs 3 to bring out. It's a 1/1. Tap. Exile the top card of target player's library. If it's a land card, you gain 1 life. Also has a landfall ability, which is, like I said before, one of my favorite things about this is landfall. Okay, landfall ability, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may untap Nibblers, which is how I prefer just calling it Nibblers. It's fun, like the name. Coming in next, for you vampire lovers out there, number 5. Urge to Feed. Costs 2 black mana to bring out. Instant. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. You may tap any number of untapped vampire creatures you control. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those vampires. This is a very nice card. I could see people using this honestly in a vampire commander deck, though I will argue this card is better for standard overall. But with that said, definitely is probably a superb great instant to have in any vampire deck. Coming in at number 4 for people who prefer red decks. This Dear Little Trap instant is quite nice, costs 4 to bring out. If an opponent casts a blue spell this turn, you may pay 1 red rather than pay the normal mana cost. That is a nice thing right there, but also change the target of target spell with a single target. This is a nice little card I could actually see in a crossover like blue-red deck or a red artifact deck. This could be quite useful. It's basically the annoyance of a blue card, but red. Also, I love the artwork as well. Coming in at number 3, for you blue players out there, 3 to bring out. This is a really fun instant. Also has a multi-kicker. 2 for each time. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Also draw a card for each time the spell was kicked. So say you pay an additional 4. Twice, that means you get to draw 2 cards. I would argue that is quite a nice little thing to have, especially in a mill deck. That could be quite useful. Though I would even argue this is would be probably pretty fun to use in a merfolk deck as well. Coming in at number 2, one of the best, I feel, enchantments to use from Worldwake, as well as this is a very good one to use in elf decks. Quest for Renewal. This is an old-time classic in my opinion. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Renewal. As long as there are 4 more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. So you see why I love this card. This can be quite broken. There's a couple of different ways to use this in certain strategies, but I will say, especially in some like an elf deck, this could destroy your opponent if you use it in a specific way with elf cards. Coming in number 1, one of my all-time favorite vampires. I would even argue my top 10 vampires of all time. Bloodhusk Ritualist. Costs 3 to bring out. Vampire Shaman. Plus has a multi-kicker. 1 black for each time. Also, it's a 2/2. When Bloodhusk Ritualist enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card for each time it was kicked. That is quite nice in like a mill style deck, or if you want to create a hybrid mill vampire deck, which is very interesting. Basically, just a combination of course, black with also artifact. But you'd be surprised how fun it can be to experiment. There's some superb great cards between Zendikar, Worldwake, and Rise of Eldrazi that have some real potential of creating a super broken deck, thanks to the abilities of this era. With that said, I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, and hopefully y'all have a good, safe week. See y'all again soon enough. Music in the background, by the way, is the Keyblade Graveyard from Birth by Sleep.